Hey kiddos, my name is Chris Hudson. I'm a volunteer firefighter here in Smyrna at the Citizens Hose Company, also known as the Smyrna Fire Department. And today I'm going to be giving you guys a virtual tour of our station and talk a little bit about fire prevention. So first, to let you guys know where we're located. If you guys haven't been here before, which I'm sure many of you have on field trips through the school, we're located at 103 West Commerce Street in the heart of Smyrna. We've been a volunteer fire department since 1886. That's 134 years ago. Me personally, I have two grandparents, two grandfathers that were in the fire service, as well as my father. I'm a third generation firefighter, and I've been doing it since 1998. So I've been a volunteer firefighter for 22 years. One thing that makes us different than a lot of fire departments in different states is we are 100% volunteer. So what that means is we don't get paid for volunteering. We do it because we like to help other people. We do it for the community. A lot of the members up here, you probably know us. We're your neighbors. We might be your coworkers for your mom and dad. But we don't do it for a paycheck. We do it for the love of our community. So in a few minutes, we're going to go outside in our engine room. We're going to walk around. I'm going to give you guys a tour of our apparatus. Some things that make us different than other fire departments are we've got a lot of apparatus because we cover a lot of land in Kent County. I think it's 48 square miles in Kent County. We have three engines. We've got engine 2, engine 3, and engine 4, which we're going to go over. We've got a heavy rescue. We also have a ladder truck, which is a 100-foot aerial, and we also have a tanker truck, which is nothing but 6,000 gallons of water. So here in a minute, we're gonna take a walk, and I will show you guys the apparatus. We'll go inside, and we'll get an in-depth look at what they're like. Also, we're gonna look at some fire gear that shows you guys what we look like when we're actually fighting a fire or if we're on an accident scene. One thing to keep in mind, we look a lot different when we're in our gear, but don't be scared of us. All firefighters are friendly, and we're here to help you. We're here to help anybody in an emergency situation. Another thing to keep in mind, guys, is when you're driving by our station at 103 West Commerce Street, it might look a little bit different now and in the upcoming months. We're in the midst of a large construction project. We haven't done any construction in our building in over 40 years, and we're outgrowing it. We're going to make it a lot more functional with a lot more useful space. So we're not going to be able to walk around in the hall side because right now it's under heavy construction. So let's go take a look outside in our engine room, and first we're going to look at Rescue 44. All right, kiddos, we just left the radio room, which is in there, and we're now in our engine room, and this is where all our fire apparatus is housed. First, we'll get started with Rescue 44. As you can see, this is our heavy rescue. It does not have any water on it, so it doesn't have a pump. Although it is a fire truck, it has a lot of rescue equipment on it. So we will go back here and check it out. The crew accesses it by the rear door, and when we go in, we can see that there's 6 spots for firefighters to sit down and mask up. We've got our equipment in here. We've got our radios so we can talk to each other. We've got some water in case we get thirsty on the fire scene. We've got extra hand lights. And as we step down, one of the things that makes this truck very unique is that it has a hearse tool on it, which is also known as the jaws of life. So we use these on accident scenes. When it's a bad wreck, we can cut people out of cars if we need to. These are the cutters, and then back here are the spreaders. We also have some rams down here that we can use to press things apart. Also in the front, this is where the officer sits. So the officer always sits in the front right seat. And you can see that these are the pedals that he uses for the air horn and the Q2 siren. He also has an air pack. And we've got lots of radios up here. We've got tablets so we can communicate with our 911 dispatch center. And we'll go over here to the driver's seat. And this is where the driver sits. Similar to a car, only the steering wheel is much, much larger. There's a lot more gauges up here and a lot of buttons up here. And this is where the driver sits and operates the fire engine. The light switches are up here and all the mechanical gauges are down here. And this is going to be similar to all the fire apparatus here in Smyrna. Next, we'll look at engine 4. All right, here we have engine 4, which is classified as a fire engine because it's got water on it. Here's the pump panel here. It's got 1,000 gallons of water on it. And it also has a hearse tool on it. We also run it as a rescue truck. So this is a little bit different. We'll go up here in the cab and we'll sit down up here. And back here we've got 4 seats where firefighters can sit and mask up when we go into a burning building. This also goes on rescue accidents. So we've got some lights up there. Got some more lights here. And this tool here that we have is called a thermal imager. So we use these when we go inside and we fight fire because this allows us to see where the heat is. A very, very cool tool to use in emergencies. So again, we've got some radios. That way everybody has a radio. That way we can talk to each other. This is the pump panel where the driver gets out once we get to the scene. He's able to pump water through the multiple hoses that we have. We walk around to the rear of engine 4. It's got some more hearse tools that you can see that we use on accidents. And up top you can see there's plenty of supply hose that we use when we hook up the hydrants or the tanker. In this compartment you can see the wood. We use this wood for cribbing when we get to an accident scene if we need to stabilize the vehicle. And again, on the officer side pump panel here, there's some discharges and some intake for some more hoses. And unique to this truck, at the very front, we also have some hearse tool equipment and some water hose. All right, next we're going to look at engine 2. Okay, moving along, this is our second engine. This is engine 2. We also refer to engine 2 as our attack engine because it's the first engine that goes out on structure fires or house fires. It also is our newest engine. So we come over here to the driver's seat, and similar to the rescue, it's got its gauges here for the driver. The dash panel looks a little different because these are where all the lights are on it as opposed to up here. And this truck has air conditioning. so it's a little bit more cooler in the summer for us when we have to go fight a fire. Looking back, again to the rear of the cab, we have 6 seats, 4 in the back and 2 rear facing for the firefighters to get ready before we go fight a fire. As we hop in the rear, it's very similar to engine 4. We have our radios up there. We've got our thermal imaging camera here. We've got some extra LED lights down here that we can use, that we can go see when we're inside, when it's dark. We've got 6 air packs back here that we use to mask up when we're going to go fight a fire. Got some hoses here that we use. These kind of hoses are called, this is the Matadale. This is what we call the hoses featured in this style. This is an 1 3/4 hose, and this is an 1.5 hose. The 1 3/4 hose is red, 1.5 is white. Again, the pump panel here. Got a collapsible ladder here and some hard sleeve hose that we can use to draft out of lakes or ponds if we need to. In the rear of engine 2, we've got a booster reel, and then back under the hose bed you can see we've got some more hose here, mainly supply line, that we use to hook up to the hydrants or the tanker. And then we've got our roof ladder here and a 24-foot ladder that we can also use to put in service should we need it. And again, we'll take a look in the officer seat. Remember, the officers sit in the right front seat. They have a mask, a bottle, and also the tablet here, so we can see what's going on before we get there. We can look at our pre-plans. And that is our attack engine, engine 2. Again, all our engines have 1,000 gallons of water on them. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at engine 3. Okay, next up is engine 3. As you can see, kind of looks similar to our prior trucks that we've already looked at, but this engine is a 1991. It's our oldest engine that we still have in service, and it's a little bit different. So it's got a 7-man cab. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. It's got 2 officer seats, so 3 people can sit up front here. 2 on the right front, and then of course the driver sits in the front left. The cabs are much different because the motor sits right in the middle. So we've got a seat here and we've got a seat here. So there's only 3 masks located in the, or excuse me, 4 masks located. There's 2 masks up front and there's 2 bottled seats in the back. We also have spare bottles in the back compartments. But we've got axes mounted right to the side. Coming around to the driver's side, again we have the pump panel here. We've got our Matadales here, hard sleeve like engine 2. Going around to the back, we've got our booster reel. We've got our supply line similar to engine 2. As you can see, our supply line up there. And making way over to the officer side, getting our compartments here, and you can see some of the tools that we use to fight fire. So here's a handy tool that we use to fight fire. This helps us get into doors. We've got a sledgehammer here. We saw the axe mounted to the side. We've got some bolt cutters here should we need to cut anything. We've got some flares here for some accident scenes should we need that. In this compartment, we've got another hearse tool and some cribbing like we had talked about earlier. In this compartment, we've got a fan that we can use to help evacuate smoke out of a building once we put out the fire. And in this compartment, we've got an extra air pack, like I mentioned earlier. So this is engine 44.3. All right, moving on. We've got my favorite piece of apparatus in this station. This is ladder 44. This is a 100-foot aerial that we use in structure fires. We can flow water from the tip, but as you can see, it does not have a pump panel. It does not have any water on it. However, we can pump water through the rear, and that's back here. We can hook up our supply line right here, which effectively will give us water, and we can flow it through the tip up there. And you might ask yourself, how many ladders does the actual ladder truck have? Because it has the one up top, which everybody can see, but we've also got many in the back here. We've got two 35-foot ladders, which have 3 sections. And then we've got some 16-foot ladders here and some roof ladders as well that we can use. Also in the back, we've got these instruments here called pipe pulls that we can use to pull down insulation or poke holes in the roof or ceiling should we need to gain access. Going over to the officers, or excuse me, the driver's side, again, the driver sits always in the left front seat, just like we do when we drive our own vehicles. You can see the gauges up here, which are similar to the rescue truck because they're about the same age. The lights are up here. Unfortunately, this one does not have air conditioning. So we've got some fans here. Got some extra radios. You can see the officer with his mask over here. And then in the back, we've got room for 6 firefighters. So again, the masks, radios, lights. We've got some this is called a set of irons, which is an axe and a halogen bar. We call these irons that we can use when we go inside a burning building. And again, air packs that we use to mask up. So similar to engines 2 and engines 4. 6 guys in the back. Okay, moving on, we've got tanker 44, which is our newest piece of apparatus. This is a 6,000 gallon tanker. And some of you may ask, what does a tanker do? Well, it's basically a portable hydrant. In Smyrna, when you go out east towards Woodland Beach, you'll notice that it's pretty rural and there's not a lot of fire hydrants down that way. Similarly, when we go into Townsend's district, parts of Townsend's district, and a lot of Clayton's district does not have hydrants. So they're going to call us for extra water. And this is tanker 44. It's just got 6,000 gallons of water on it. It's got a massive pump that we use. Right, and here's the pump that we can hook up to and supply water to whatever fire apparatus needs it. If we utilize it, it's going to go towards engine 3, which is called our supply piece. Again, it's got 2 rear discharges back here as well that we use. A tanker 44, 6,000 gallons of water. It's a tractor trailer. So the tractor pulls it, and inside of the tractor, it looks just like a tractor trailer would. So if you go up in here, it's got the steering wheel here, all the gauges, just like a tractor trailer would, but since it's a fire truck, here are the radios that we use that we can talk to the 911 dispatch center. It's lucky enough it's got air conditioning up here, It's got a backup camera and all the amenities what a normal tractor trailer would. But since it's a fire truck, we've got our radios here. These next two pieces of apparatus I'm going to show you we use to fight field fires, marsh fires, woods fires. This is Brush Truck 44. Now it goes on all the alarms I just mentioned. And it's a Chevrolet 1-ton pickup truck. And inside it's basically like a pickup truck, but again, since it's a fire truck, we've got our radios here that we can use to communicate with the 911 dispatch center. We've got room for a driver, an officer, and 3 firefighters in the back. Gets a little tight back there, but you can fit 3. In the rear here, we've got our hose and we've got our pump. It's got a water tank on it as well. Underneath here, we've got rakes and beaters that we can use to put out marsh fires and woods fires. It's got a winch should we ever need it to pull out anything. And on the other side, it's got some saws, caution tape, a light, and everything we need for our power saw. Over here, this is our Ranger, and we use this as also for woods fires or marsh fires. It can go in a lot of places the fire trucks can't because it weighs a lot less. It also has a small tank on it. Again, you can see some saws back here. Got a water hose, fuel tank here, rakes, speeders, shovels, a pitchfork. We can all use these when we go fight fires outside. And it gets pulled with one of our utility pieces. That is Ranger 44 and then Brush 44. The last piece of apparatus I'm going to cover inside is our 1928 American LaFrance fire engine. This is our prized piece of apparatus we call Old Mom. I said it's from 1928. So in 28 years, this truck turns 100. Now as you can see, things were a lot different back then. The driver sat on the right-hand side and the officer sat on the left-hand side, which is completely opposite of the fire apparatus today. It's so old that, as you can see down here, it's chain driven. Now it does run off of gasoline and not diesel fuel. And in the back here is where the water tank is. And this is where the firemen used to stand with the hose. They'd stand on top of the hose. It's been fully restored. It's got some hard sleeve here. A small pump panel here. It's a manual transmission, so the driver would sit over here and change gears. And you can see old ladders over here. Again, Old Mom turns 100 years old in 28 years. Hard to believe. See the chains down here. And that pretty much is all the apparatus that we have currently inside our engine room. Alright, next we're going to talk about gear a little bit. We're going to go over our gear. This is our helmet that we wear to protect our head. These are our gloves that we use to protect our hands. You can see that we have our jacket here, our turnout gear. And then these are our pants that we wear, our bunker gear. and our boots. You can see all the gear that all the firemen wear when we respond to alarms in the engine room. So when you ever see a firefighter dressed like this, we look a little bit different, but don't ever run away from us. You want to run towards us. So I've got my helmet on to protect my head. I've got my hood on to protect my neck. I've got my jacket on to protect my upper body. I've got my pants on to protect my lower body and my boots to protect my feet. Next, I'm going to put my mask on. I'll look a lot different then. All right, now I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm fully masked up. I've got my gloves on, my jacket, my hood, my helmet, and like I said, my mask with my bottle on. So I could hook up my respirator here, and I could breathe artificial air and go inside a burning building and find you. Again, if you're ever in a burning building and you see a firefighter, you want to come towards us. Don't ever run away, because we're here to help you. Okay? Okay, kiddos, that's going to conclude today's virtual tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, we're located at 103 West Commerce Street. Feel free to come up and visit us after this COVID mess sorts itself out. Unfortunately, right now, no visitors are allowed to enter the station due to current health restrictions. But when that all changes, come up and visit us. Our doors are open as long as somebody's here. But again, thank you for having me, Smyrna School District. I enjoyed giving it, and I hope you enjoy watching it. We also have a Facebook page that you can go visit anytime. It's CHC44. We also have a website, www.citizenshoscompany.com. Feel free to go there to see what's going on. We've got lots of news. We've got our articles listed on there, all sorts of fun stuff. And also visit the Delaware State Fire School. Has a lot of cool videos out there on YouTube. So you can also go there and visit their page. But again, I'm Chris Hudson. Thank you again for joining us today.